Going on, everybody? It's that time of year. College football playoffs is just around the corner. And let's talk about that and how Florida State got screwed hardcore in this year. They went undefeated, 13-0. They were the ACC champions, and they're not going to be in the college football playoffs. This has to be a first. I don't know of the time that the college football playoffs has existed and an undefeated team has missed out altogether. I know an undefeated team has missed out on being in the national championship before the college football playoffs because, only two teams got in at that point. But now that there's four, rarely is there four undefeated teams, and especially since there's two one-loss teams that got in. And I think Texas is a big reason why. As soon as they, dominated and won the Big 12, it was going to be hard to put them in if Alabama beat Georgia, or to keep them out if Alabama beat Georgia, because SEC, everybody knows they were going to put one of them in. As soon as that happened, I knew this video was going to have to be made because they were going to screw somebody. They were either going to screw Texas, they were going to screw Florida State. They chose Florida State, and a big part of that was because of Jordan Travis, which I don't agree with because, they did beat Florida. They beat Louisville without him. So it's not like they had this cakewalk. They didn't play anybody. They played Pitt in the championship or something like that. I don't love that argument, to be completely honest with you. I just don't love it. But I get it. SEC, the best conference in all of college football. You kind of have to almost put whoever wins that championship in. But then I asked this question, what if Georgia was playing like LSU or something in the championship? I don't think that's possible because they play on the same side, but just stick with me. Some team like that. I don't know who's else on Alabama's side because they dominated it so much. I don't even know. But let's say somebody else from Alabama's side and they beat Georgia. What do they do then? Does Georgia still get in? Does Georgia miss? There was a lot of things that could have happened here. The only thing we knew coming into this was that Michigan and Washington was locked into the next round. I don't think there was much doubt about that. And I think once Texas won the Big 12, Georgia lost, I think it was pretty set in stone. You weren't going to put Alabama ahead of Texas, who beat them in a head-to-head matchup in Alabama, which would have been a bad decision on their part. So you knew Texas was going to be in if Bama made their way through. So you knew that Florida State was probably going to get screwed, and you knew at the same time that Ohio State, Georgia, and Oregon had no real shot at making the playoffs. Ohio State had no real shot unless every team lost or something, and then they could have made it in. I don't know why they were ranked 5th. They should have just slid down farther and completely out of the mix. It should have been Texas and Alabama should have moved ahead of them. Because let's be honest here, everybody knew Ohio State had no real shot at making it unless some real chaos happened, like Iowa knocked off Michigan, which wasn't going to happen. So I think honestly the biggest thing to me is it's a lot of SEC bias. I don't know if you should have had Alabama get in over Florida State. I understand the point in it because, SEC, best division in football, or college football, and you kind of have to be biased towards them. But I think Florida State got screwed. 13-0, they should have been in. They should have kept Bama out and, just let Michigan or Washington evidently probably win. Maybe Texas wins it all. Texas does look like a good team. I think they could beat Washington. I'll do my full predictions of the college football playoffs here in a few days. But I do think that Washington can get upset pretty easily. I wouldn't be shocked if Alabama doesn't knock off Michigan. We might have a 3-4 seed battle for the national championship. It could happen, but I would have rather seen Florida State there because I feel like they deserved it more by going undefeated in a Power 5 conference and got completely screwed. But as soon as Alabama upset Georgia, I knew that was going to happen. I was actually kind of cheering them on, so I had this video to talk about because everybody, I think, on planet Earth knew that was going to be the top 4. It was going to be those 4 teams because, like I said, Michigan, Washington, they were locked in as soon as they won. everybody else knew that once Texas won and Alabama won, it was probably going to be those two guys over Florida State, no matter what they did. Florida State could have beat Louisville by probably 70, and they probably still don't get in over Alabama, which is a problem in my opinion. And this is why I think like the college football needs to become a 12-team playoff, because at that point you could have kept Florida State ahead of Alabama. Georgia could have been in. Oregon could have been in. Ohio State could have been. It would have been so much more entertaining. You could have even slipped in maybe one of those other dudes down near the bottom, and it could have been so much better. You know, even if they went to an 8-team playoff, which I'm not even sure if that would work completely right. Let's see, 4-2. Yeah, that would work. You could have went to an 8-team playoff, and it would be just fine. I would have liked to see something more, because 4 teams just isn't enough at this point in college football, especially with NIL deals, or NIL deals. Sorry, but you know, it is what it is at this point, and Florida State got absolutely screwed. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you think Florida State should have got in? Do you think Alabama should have got in? I personally think Florida State should have. An undefeated season should be held to higher standard than just being an SEC team that knocked off Georgia. It struggled for a good chunk of the season, and you can't even argue if Alabama's schedule is that tough, because it was pretty easy for Alabama. Everybody knows their schedule's usually a cakewalk. But leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.